welcome back to the Not Carrie Bradshaw YouTube channel. In this video, I'm recapping the finale of P-Valley. Oh, did not realize that rhymed. But we are here. We made it 10 episodes of anticipation, of anxiety, of girl, what the hell about to happen? So let's get right into it. When last we left our heroes, it was a major cliffhanger on several notes. So we dive right back in. The mayoral race has concluded. And also, I thought that the party at the Pynk was over after the kerfuffle. No, girl, the party is still going. And it's like, I love that energy. I love that energy. I have a belief that the party gods giveth and the party gods taketh away. If a party starts off with some bullshit, the night will probably end really well. Okay? I'll talk about why I believe that in another video because it's not relevant here. So let's start off with Andre because that's where this episode opens. Autumn Haley Lakiesha Savage is an agent of chaos. I don't like her. I'm looking for her. IRL. I despise her. I despise how she was sitting there looking when Andre and Britt were arguing. So here's my frustration. Andre is acting like he didn't cheat first, as far as we know. He's acting like he didn't strike first blood. He is just this eternal victim. I really actually don't like Andre either. I just realized in this moment, I don't enjoy Andre or Autumn. They deserve each other. He is such a shit stain of a person. He's fully projecting his own insecurities about his upbringing, being from the wrong side of the tracks. Sweetie, this is not 1865. Don't nobody even care about that no more. If you're a genuine person who wants genuine good things for your partner, a good family should welcome you in, and you shouldn't want to be a part of a family where they wouldn't welcome you in if you are a genuine and good and kind person. But you started off your marriage with a lie. You were not vulnerable with your wife about where your father is, where he came from, where you came from. You created a facade, and then it all came crumbling down, and you're trying to throw it up in Britt's face. Oh, you should have always been with, the doctor who she cheated with anyway. And what's interesting to me, I was listening to a podcast not too long ago where they were talking about how so many people who end up divorced knew at their wedding that the marriage wasn't going to work, that this was not their person. What the shit makes people go through with a wedding or a marriage that they don't really feel good about? I don't know. I say that as a person who's not beholden to a traditional idea of a wedding or a marriage. So maybe that's easier for me to say, but fuck off. If you don't really feel it for this person today, why would you feel it for this person for the rest of your life, allegedly? Anyway, Andre can fuck off. He admits that he's in love with Autumn Haley Lakiesha Savage, not knowing that she's pregnant still. And as of this recording, he still don't know she's pregnant. Anyway, and Britt doesn't want a divorce. And it's like, sweetie, why not? You got the house, you got the money, you got you a man who is actually more in alignment with you. What did they used to say on Jenny Jones and Ricky Lake? Drop the zero, get with the hero. Like, I know that's super cheesy, but it applies. That man is a frontline worker. He is an actual hero. Andre don't know who he is, okay? He's living in his deceased godfather's shadow. Let's move on. I'm like pro-divorce over here. If you're not happy, go find you some happiness, sweetie, in yourself, and then possibly with a new partner. So Andre decides, so Patrice Woodbine wins the mayoral race. And shouts out to you guys who called it on my Instagram. I did a poll, and I was surprised that you guys called Patrice Woodbine. I did not see that coming. I don't know who I thought was going to win. You know what? Maybe I thought Wayne Kyle was going to win because white man and white privilege. Anyway, Patrice Woodbine wins. As Andre is making his concession speech, he reveals that he is still going to move back to Chucalissa and he is going to open a law firm, much to the chagrin of his wife, who continues to be an afterthought in his decision making. So we end Andre's storyline this season with him going to the prison to visit his father, and he discovers that Autumn Lakeisha Savage Haley tweeted him phone is completely disconnected because that's how that bitch moved, because she trifling. So we at the Pynk. Again, I thought the night was over after shit went down. The night is not over. We still pushing through. Lil Murda comes out as Big Murda, okay? First of all, obsessed with the scene where he's looking at himself in the broken window, coming to terms with the many facets of himself that make up the totality of this gorgeous, gorgeous man. I love that man so much. I think that he is so regular dude, approachable, fine. He reminds me of the guys that I grew up having a crush on when I was little, just like aesthetically, because he just looks like just a regular fine dude. I'm obsessed with it. Anyway, he hits the stage a cappella in rare form. He tells DJ Never Scared to cut the music, and he spits the verse to 7 Pounds of Pressure a cappella, and he's almost taunting Maine in the audience with these words, damn near kind of confessing. And I'm like, oh, I don't want you to do this. However, we get this amazing full circle moment where Mercedes comes out, and Lil Murda always wanted Mercedes to be like the featured dancer for his music if we think back to season 1. So this scene is poetic on several accounts. Mercedes has been down and out, doubting herself this entire season because of the 7 pounds of pressure that it took for her to kill Montavious. And even though Diamond removed that 7 pounds of pressure with his root work, she had PTSD from the fall she suffered, and then the sponsorship fell through. She's struggling to establish a consistent parental relationship with Terica. Her money situation isn't great. She has a lot going on. The 7 pounds of pressure is at the root of her and Lil Murda's story, of their evolution. And so he has also committed a murder using the 7 pounds of pressure that it takes to pull a trigger. And that's what this song is. That's what this performance is. Mercedes comes back as the Mercedes that we knew and loved. And let me tell y'all, this scene was shot with so much intention, from the Delta Noir style of the all red stage. Apparently, Katori Hall said that Lil Murda learned this song at, like, I think she said 150% speed, so that they would be able to do slow-mo shots of it. And the talent involved in doing that, like, that's next level. They shot it like a music video to kind of break the fourth wall, and it really did feel like a 3-dimensional experience, especially the part where he's squatting down, the camera is looking up, and we see Mercedes come down. You think that she's gonna fall, and she flips off that pole into a split. Next level. Like, I loved everything about this scene. It was like a reclamation of Mercedes as just like a queen, as a vet. Like, I'm obsessed with everything about this and what the 7 pounds of pressure means for both of them. That maybe it's the birth of something new from those murders. Something new emerges. I don't know, but I'm obsessed with the scene. So Maine is in awe of Mercedes, looking at her performing, but he's also having this rage at the fact that he feels like she's aligning himself with his enemy because he's Chiefy Keef. Chiefy Chief? Did I say Keef? My bad. Y'all know what I meant. Lil Murda's a hurt-filled hustler. They're rival gangs, all of the things. And this really freaked me out because I was like, what does this mean for Mercedes? Does this mean that maybe he'll back off out of love for her? It had me nervous, to be honest. So we get the news that Ernestine survived COVID, which was a huge surprise to me. I absolutely love the emotional connection that Lil Murda and Uncle Clifford have, that Lil Murda knew exactly what she meant when she said she didn't drink the water. So Ernestine survived. And you know what? We needed that. I'm surprised by it, but we needed that. So it's the next morning. The tour is set to start that day. Uncle Clifford has been preparing herself for this eventual departure, right? Since it restarted, she's been bracing herself to let go. From Uncle Clifford's perspective, she is happy enough to just have the memories of what they've shared in this house together, the vulnerability, the physical intimacy, the emotional intimacy. She's resigned herself to a life alone, and the fact that Ernestine has survived, and she tells Uncle Lil Murda, that's enough for me. And you can see that this kind of hurts Lil Murda. Like, it feels like he doesn't really want her to let him go. It feels like he wants her to kind of fight for him to stay. But I think that love is not the same as possession. And sometimes loving a person is letting them go off to fulfill their purpose, even if that purpose doesn't involve you. However, there is some conflict here there's fear on Uncle Clifford's part as well, that maybe she's using the tour as an excuse to not fully lean into this relationship. Um, the thing is, we're also just not in a world where Black men like Lil Murda's character can be openly gay. Here's what, even if you look at right now, you have Saucy Santana and you have Lil Nas X killing the game, right? These are two femme presenting, openly gay Black men, right? Lil Murda is a masculine presenting Black man who is from the streets and raps about street life. I hate the notion that we're still not in a place where we can reconcile both of those things, because Saucy Santana and Lil Nas X are not rapping about street shit. That's not the content of their music. I don't feel like hip hop is ever going to be ready for the kind of artist that Lil Murda is, but we would just have to get ready for it. And so that's something that I was thinking about. Like, maybe we have become more accepting of a certain kind of gay rapper. I don't know if we could accept that kind in a large scale. I can. I'm here for Lil Murda. I want Lil Murda to be a real artist, okay? And shouts out to the people who write for this character. So Ernestine feels invigorated, okay, because she done started dating one of the lovely African gentlemen who helped to re-up the Pynk. Big L and Duffy come through, so I guess they're back on good terms with Uncle Clifford, whether she likes it or not. And Beulah makes another ghostly appearance. We learned that Beulah died from what I'm guessing is AIDS, because Uncle Clifford talks about like the sores in her mouth and pneumonia in her lungs, which, as I recall from what we learned about AIDS forever ago. And she feels that, love killed you. So why are you pushing me to take this chance on love? Look where it got you. And is that where Uncle Clifford's trust issues come from? Is that the root of her fear? Remains to be seen. So, Ernestine's party was a twirl. I was nervous about it, and Ernestine was like, child, I got immunity, so I'm gonna be good. I'm happy that they did it outside, child. And I absolutely love how Lil Murda showed up. And it's like, we couldn't tell if this was like a hazy dream or a drug-induced dream, or if this was real. But the way he was leaning on that jukebox, child, come see me. I loved it. I loved everything about this, because Uncle Clifford deserves happiness. Uncle Clifford has facilitated a home for so many people, except for herself emotionally. She's always in service to everyone else, but like, who takes care of you? Much like Duffy F's Roulette in the last episode. So Lil Murda ultimately quit the tour. And Uncle Clifford is like, that was so stupid. This is such a big opportunity for you. Why are you afraid of success? And we actually learn, again, character development about Lil Murda. He started his relationship with Teak in prison, basically via an assault. And I was just like, whoa. Here's what, apparently that's very common. And I'm not going to say normal, because everything that's common isn't normal. But the relationship started as him choosing on him and then paying a guard to push him in a closet. So he basically assaulted him, and then the relationship became a relationship. Sounds like Stockholm Syndrome to me. There's a lot there. I'm not familiar with prison relationships, but again, apparently this is common. And Lil Murda feels that a huge part of maybe why Teak killed himself is because Lil Murda could not love him in the light, and he doesn't want to make the same mistake with Uncle Clifford. And Uncle Clifford is like, I don't want you to wake up to regret. I don't want you to resent me. You're younger than me. You have so much more life to live. You're talented. You should be able to build this career without me holding you back. And Lil Murda is like, it's just not your choice to make. And bitch, they come out to Jeffrey Osborne. Let me tell you something. Okay, when that song dropped, I said, I can't tell if this is a dream or not. And then Lil Murda tells us it's not a dream. And I was like, how did you know? Oh my gosh. I thought this was so sweet. They're coming out to that song. It's just something about them vocals when that song drops. I'm not going to sing for y'all because it's early, but I loved it. I am just so beyond thrilled with Uncle Clifford and Lil Murda's coming out. it's even the lyrics of the song choice is like, what we have is much more than they can see. But you know what? Now they can see it. We out. We in the open. And I guess for Lil Murda, it's like, yeah, what are you giving up? You're going to give up a life of pretending, continuing to pretend to be someone who you're not, or denying these other parts of yourself that are so prominent. And I'm just obsessed with his character because Lil Murda gives very much don't make me call my man, but he's also so nurturing. Like he'll take your grandma to church on Sunday and like pick her up and then like run her by the pharmacy to get her prescription. Like I'm just obsessed with how multifaceted of a character he is and the love that he has for Uncle Clifford because she deserves to be loved out loud. And there is the significance of how much Uncle Clifford loves Lil Murda that she understands the reality that they live in and doesn't want to put undue pressure on him to be something he's not prepared to be. But I'm so happy that he chose her and that he chose their love and to put it out in the open for everyone to smile upon. And honestly, if it was a Percocet induced haze, I don't even care. I will, until we get the next season, I'm going to continue to believe that that was real. And Lil Murda said, like, this isn't a dream. It just made me so happy. It made me so happy to see Uncle Clifford be loved out loud and just the feels. I love it. So Mercedes reveals that she is retiring, and you can tell that Uncle Clifford feels a bit abandoned in this moment. Gidget has left. Keyshawn has left. Mercedes is planning to leave. But here's what, again, it's an opportunity to dream a new dream, just like she told Mercedes. And maybe this is an opportunity to usher in create a home for a new class of girls, possibly. So I kind of felt for Uncle Clifford in this moment, but we also, from watching Mercedes' journey, we want to see her elevate. We want to see her move on. So Nineveh on the side reveals to Roulette that she knows the tea about her basically being a madam. And she wants to be down because Nineveh is a trans girl and there is a market for trans girls in the sex work world, like whether Roulette knows it or not. So she wants to be put on game. This is a great setup for what's to possibly come next season. Child, we then learned that Autumn's trifling ass emptied the club's accounts and just skipped town. And I'm looking for her. I'm looking for her. Future voice. Not in the good way. We'll get there though. So as far as our girl Mercedes, Farrah actually came through like a real one. She sent her a check for royalties from the gallery opening using the Mercedes Experience photos, which makes me really, really happy. She sent her this gorgeous photo of herself and a check, which y'all know from my last review, I was concerned. This is very sweet that you did this and that Mercedes reignited this belief in yourself from an artistic perspective, but where is my girl's coin for helping you? Pay creators, okay? Pay your muses. Pay me. Anyway, so Mercedes decorates her gym with these photos of herself, and it looks like she's reclaiming her image. She's reclaiming her body. She feels strong again. In comes Patrice Woodbine. Patrice tells Mercedes that Shell called, the church hotline, and she's going to rehab, and she wants Patrice to take Terica. And it's like, Shell, you really are a backwards ass bitch, and I'm not even going to blame the alcoholism on that. You just have like a warped sense of like what's good and what's not, and like, no. But people in the South particularly tend to just trust religious figures in a very blind way that we absolutely shouldn't. And it sounds like when Patrice is talking about Shell, she's actually talking about herself in terms of seeking forgiveness. And so she tells her that, I've already raised my child. Here's your opportunity to raise yours. She brings Terica through, and this is finally Mercedes' opportunity to be the mother to Terica that she always wanted to be. Now, I don't know if Shell gonna be okay with that, but she in rehab. This ain't her business right now. So I want to pull over right here to talk about Terica's storyline. So first, Terica gets pregnant at 14 years old. And then when Mercedes introduces Terica to Maine, you get the impression that there's this like lingering look, this like she's looking at Maine like lustily. And then we dial back to learning about Mercedes' relationship with Terica's father, right? Where she lied about her age because she, had a more developed body, so she could get away with saying that she was older than she was, and that she, quote unquote, tricked this man into an underage relationship. I want to know where exactly Katori Hall is going with this story and what she's saying about young Black girls. I am very, very sensitive to the adultification of Black girls and the ways in which we are treated like we're making adult decisions just based on the fact that we are girls. And then, God forbid, if you start developing early, you are automatically classified as fast and you're seeking the attention of men. And the whole time you're just existing as a little girl. I hate it so much that that happened to me when I was little. Like growing up, I did not always feel safe around the adults that my mom trusted to raise my brother and I in her absence. And I wanted to be around my brother more. My brother also wanted to be around his friends. So I got called fast for wanting to be around boys. And it creates this shame around your body, around just your existence, that any attention that you get from a man, whether you want it or not, is your fault. I hate this. It's so prevalent in our community. I don't know if it's prevalent in other communities because I'm not a part of theirs, but I feel like that's being done to Terica. And then even the comment that Mercedes makes about Terica when they get to Ernestine's party of, I'm gonna have to watch her. It was just so triggering for me. And I'm really curious about where this storyline for Terica is going. Is Terica going to also go into sex work? And a friend of mine and I were talking yesterday of, as much as we feel that we're champions of sex workers and we believe that it should be legalized and that it should be safe and more regulated, I don't know how comfortable I actually am with it when I consider the age that people are when they go into sex work. It's not like 30-year-old women, well, I'm sure that happens, but by and large, we don't really hear or see a lot of stories of like mature 30-year-old women deciding that they're going to be sex workers. It's people who unfortunately are underage or in their late teens or early 20s. And I was telling my friend, I can't help but to feel that we are also exploiting them by wanting, by supporting or championing, or being like pro sex work. It's something that I still have to sit with and read more and learn more about. But I don't know where we're going with Terica's storyline, but I'm really not liking that she's already being kind of labeled or projected as fast. So Mercedes introduces Maine to Terica, like I said, and he expresses his discontent with her performance with Lil Murda and, feels like she's aligning herself with his enemies. And he also reveals that he knows about Lil Murda's sexuality, which I think this is actually a surprise to Mercedes as well. So let's dial it back to Autumn. So as I suspected, Autumn overplayed her hand. The referendum passed, but Georgie doesn't actually need the land from the Pynk anymore. We're clued into the fact that Corbin gave Uncle Clifford that $250,000 investment that Autumn made to save the club so that Uncle Clifford could buy the club back. And the conversation that Uncle Clifford had with Corbin on his land about bringing the water to you, there's so many themes about water and how it flows and how it has memory, and water will always go back to where it once existed. And we remember that Corbin struck water when he was, working in the field or whatever. I'm sorry, I don't know about irrigation systems and whatnot. But basically, Corbin is going to cash in because he's bringing the water to himself via like Corbin's canal or something like that. And there was this deal made in Autumn's absence, which puts Uncle Clifford back as the majority owner in her club, and she saves her club, which made me so, so happy. And so now Autumn is out. So Autumn tried to confront Uncle Clifford about this, and I was so happy that Uncle Clifford finally gave Autumn her issue. Autumn has been an ungrateful bitch this entire time. I was so happy that Big L and Diamond even came through of like, sweetie, we gave you more than you were even deserving of, because we unalived someone and hid the body for you. And you're not about to run up on Uncle Clifford like you're going to do something, because we will unalive you as well. And Uncle Clifford makes it clear that, like, you came in here having no family, having no roots, and we extended ourselves to you, and you never welcomed us in. It was your intention the entire time to get over on us. Autumn is just not a person of integrity. And apparently, you know, that comes from her own trauma, but you cannot go around making other people suffer because of how you suffered. Those things are no longer happening today. And you had people here who were genuine and opened their hearts up to you, and you gave them your ass to kiss. So she can fuck off. So Keyshawn, I absolutely love Keyshawn and Lil Murda's siblingship. I love chosen family so much, and so he makes good on the money that he owed her from the tour. And I think they were in Atlanta. Shouts out to East Point, Headland, and Delow, the shopping center. He makes good on the money that he owed her from the tour so that she can restart her life with these kids. And Keyshawn encourages Lil Murda not to let go of Uncle Clifford the way Keyshawn has to, so that she can protect her kids. And we know, you know, that he didn't. So this scene was so upsetting and disappointing for me. Shanice threw a wrench in Keyshawn's plan by calling Derek to talk about how gorgeous this little girl is and her hair and all this and that. Derek then becomes aware that Keyshawn was planning an exit, and I just really want to punch Shanice in the face. She is the worst kind of person. Again, everybody is terrible for a reason, but I'm not interested. I want to punch her in the face. She's a horrible person and a horrible mother. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I say this as not a parent. A huge part of me was like, girl, fuck them kids. You need to get the hell on. You can send for them at a later time. You can figure something out. Derek can't even hold down a job. He will eventually, like, make an anonymous call that they need to go get them kids. But, like, you need to go. Fuck them kids. I say that not being a parent, okay? And this is also a fictional show, okay? So she goes back to the house, and before she can even explain herself, Derek has turned the tables on her. Child Protective Services are there. She's accused of being the abuser, and I wasn't sure if that woman was actually saying those things, being critical of young Black mothers, or if that's just what Keyshawn was hearing as a projection of her insecurity or what people have assumed about her. But she becomes enraged that her kids are, they're threatening to take her kids from her, and she's being labeled as an unfit mother. And the whole time Derek been in here beating everybody ass, but it's never been reported. There is no evidence of it. She has been protecting him for so long that she left herself vulnerable, and she becomes enraged and finally goes off on him, and starts physically attacking him, and then swings on the police officer there. So she then gets arrested, and I'm just like, God, we were so close. And how many times does this actually happen? At the end of the day, Derek is a white man and she is a Black woman who is a sex worker. He's always going to trump her in terms of rights, in terms of believability, in terms of victimhood. It's always going to look like she is the bad guy. Which is so triggering for me, because even like in a corporate space, no matter what you do, no matter how careful you are, you have to behave in such a specific way so that people don't see you as a threat, and that shit pisses me off. So Keyshawn calls Diamond from jail and asks basically if he can be her white knight again. And as he is preparing to do so, we get the strangest twist of fate. This felt a lot like Empire for me, in that it was like really soapy and really like out of nowhere. And I was just like, okay. So basically Big Bone was a honeypot the whole time. And she's a part of, I guess, the squad or the team or whatever, where Diamond killed a lieutenant. So maybe next season we're going to get some insight into what actually created the PTSD that Diamond has been fighting through, and we keep getting these hints that his military career was like tainted in all these ways. So maybe this is a setup for next season, but he gets like kidnapped and what? It's okay, but this felt This shifted the energy of the show for me, or the vibe or the cadence of the show for me, in a way that just felt offbeat. I'll say that. It felt incongruous. Is that the word I want to use? I'm not sure. It just didn't feel like it matched everything else that was going. I was like, what's happening right now? And let me be clear, I love some spy shit. I love intrigue. I love stuff like that, but that didn't feel like it belonged energetically in this show. So I'll be curious to see how that plays out next season. Okay, sure, why not? I fully enjoyed this season. They gave us a lot to think about, a lot to talk about. I hope we don't have to wait a really, really long time for the next season. But you know what? If that means that we get something that's really well done, I'm happy to wait, because this season was amazing from a cinematography perspective, from character development and everything beyond. I'm so happy with what they were able to do, especially during a pandemic. So shouts out to everyone who was a part of it. And I will be reviewing the Game of Thrones prequel, House of Dragons, starting next week. So make sure you check back in with me for that. And I will talk to you guys soon. Thank you for joining me to review this season of P-Valley, and we'll talk soon. Bye.